Delighted to be joined by our great mayor of the village of New Hyde Park, Chris Devane. We have a lot of people here, including, go ahead, Mike. Okay, Diana Alati, she's from Family for Safe Streets, and her 13-year-old son, Andrew, was killed while biking in 2019. We have Alyssa Kyle from Hempstead Vision, Long Island. We have Rena Gasparis from Families for Safe Streets. We have our Senator, Anna Kaplan, who represents this area. We have Bobby Preddy from Families for State Street Social Workers. And I want to thank our fire commissioners here as well from New Hyde Park. Chairman Reed Sakowitz, Vice Chairman Ron Sakowitz, Robert Turdy, Joseph Abakush. Did I say it right? Thank you. And we have our Deputy Mayor, Madavi Najjar, also from New Hyde Park. So we have a lot of people here with good reason, and that's because this issue is so important. We're here today to talk about data for our roads, but also we're talking about data, our roads, safety, human lives, from drivers to bikers to pedestrians. And that's the most important reason we're here, to save lives. We've lost too many on Long Island on many different streets. We just read an analysis right here by Newsday. Here's their headline. It says Long Island's deadliest roads, okay? And a story like this, people read it and they look at the numbers. Dozens of deaths over 4 years, many on the same road. Why does it keep happening and happening and happening? And particularly to those who have lost loved ones here, it is devastating. And one reaction is simply just, one reaction is simply just to cry or to scream. But the reaction we have here today, in addition to feeling the pain of people who were lost, is to say, what's going on? Why is this happening? And what can we do about it? And we're here to do two things today. First, answer the question of why so many road deaths, particularly in and around where we are standing, have occurred. And second, to fund improvements at the federal level that can save lives. And in the bipartisan infrastructure bill, which was passed last year, there is the kind of money that can help us save lives here, so it won't come out of the mayor's budget or even the state budget. Okay? All right.
Thank you.
Okay. This is a big island, close to 3 million people. Lots of roads, lots of people. And we do all we can to keep our people safe. But when accidents do happen, we try to find out why and how we can prevent them. So we have seen that data, which is federal data, works. And we applaud the National Highway Transportation Safety Administration, otherwise known as NHTSA, for collecting it. And this data drives home one main point. Dozens of deaths in and around the same places demand we do more to understand, A, why it happens, B, what we can do about it. The village of New Hyde Park's main corridor is right behind us, Jericho Turnpike. It's been the scene of many tragedies, far too many tragedies. Within the last year, as the mayor can tell you, this community witnessed a triple fatality at just one location. Over the last 7 weeks, there have been 4 pedestrians struck in 3 separate incidents, including a mother and son, a first grader on the way to school. Any one of these stories breaks your heart. I have a little grandson, he's 3.5 years old, he goes to preschool, every day goes to school. I think, God forbid, if he's hit by a car or a truck. And that's a natural reaction that I think just about every parent and grandparent has. We worry, as we should. And the village has done a lot to promote safety. They've done a good job. But New Hyde Park is not the federal government. It doesn't have the resources, and it doesn't even have the ability, the ability to study it all, because you need knowledge from across the country to say what makes things safe and why is this location less safe than that location. We don't expect the village to have transportation engineers on its staff at the ready. And we don't expect them to have a whole pot of funds. But the federal government does. And I've worked to ensure that money for safety is there. So today I'm calling on the federal government to work with the state and local governments on conducting a formal safety audit. Or it's called a road safety audit. Here's my letter somewhere to the head of NHTSA, right here, asking her to do a safety audit of the very places on Long Island where we've seen too many deaths. So I'm calling on the feds to do it. The audit would take into account the hard work and the data already derived by locals, but could and often does glean information we can use to tap the federal funds to allow the improvements to be made. An audit would take a look at road intersections, traffic flow, other characteristics, and then identify safety improvements. That's what the road audit does, okay? And I'm also announcing that the federal funds that I have worked for would help provide funding for myriad improvements. I wrote into the BIF program, bipartisan, Democrat and Republican, a program called Safe Streets for All. It's in the bill. It is over $5 billion federally. And I'm here to say that I will work hard once this audit is done to make sure Long Island can tap into it for everything that it needs. Okay? So that's basically what we can do. There is plenty of dollars for this, and we're going to get it done. There are 3 other federal programs we could tap into as well. One is called HSIP, Highway Safety Improvement Program. We give money to New York State for that. That funding is used to do the things we're talking about. There's the Federal Surface Transportation Block Grant. That's $2.8 billion over 5 years. 10% of that is set aside for safety and transportation alternatives. And there's the RAISE program, which is a $7.5 billion program that you apply for specifics. We don't really need that because we have enough money elsewhere, but it's still there in case. Let me give you what Newsday reported. The 5 deadliest roads. State Route 25, 62 deaths, including 18 pedestrians and 4 cyclists. That's the 90 miles from Floral Park to Orient Point. 27, south of here, 61 traffic deaths, 22 pedestrians, 3 cyclists. They examined that road from Valley Stream to Montauk Point. 25A had 26 fatalities, 5 of which were pedestrians, 1 a cyclist. That was 60 miles from University Gardens to Wading River. And out in Suffolk County, Route 80 had 20 fatalities, 2 pedestrians and 1 cyclist. That was from Bay Avenue in East Patchogue to Knoll Road in Shinnecock Hills. And finally, State 24, known as the Hempstead Turnpike here in Nassau County, they had 19 facilities, including 8 pedestrians, 2 cyclists. The analysis on Route 24, which is also referred to as Fulton Avenue in Hempstead Village and Conklin Street in Farmingdale, covered 16 miles. So, the good news is, an audit like this and the Fed funds behind it can move very quickly. We can get the audit done very quickly because we have the data. They just now look at what happened, and I will get the funds using my cloud as majority leader here quickly. We fund the improvements with the audit that we have asked for. So, bottom line is, we're here to give these efforts to make Long Island safer, to prevent the road deaths we've talked about. We're here to give them some gas. We're going to get it done. Okay, and now I want to first call on Mayor Devane of the Village of New Hyde Park.
I'm sorry.
Thanks, Mayor.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Senator. On behalf of myself and Deputy Mayor Madhvi Najjar, we want to welcome you to the Village of New Hyde Park. Senator, thank you so much. I've also asked the members of the New Hyde Park Fire Department to be with us here today, and we have Chairman Reed Sackwich, the Chairman of the Board of Fire Commissioners, his brother, Vice Chairman Ron Sackwich, Commissioner Robert Teets, and Commissioner Joe Abakush. The reason I wanted them here is they are the ones who were responding to these calls on
Right.
Jericho Turnpike when these calls happen. In the last year, as Senator Schumer referred to, in the last year, we had a triple fatality back in May of this year on Jericho Turnpike. People simply going to a party and coming out of that party and losing their lives because of speed on Jericho Turnpike, in addition to other factors, but that's going to play itself out in court. In the last 7 weeks alone, and we're a small village, we just take up a small portion of Jericho Turnpike. In the last 7 weeks alone, we've had 4 pedestrians struck on Jericho Turnpike. 4 in the last 7 weeks. Including in that 4 were a mom, Abigail, and her son, Connor, who were going to New Hyde Park Road School, simply going to school in the morning as a first grader. And I happened to be at that call, as well as members of the fire department. And we did see Abigail lying in the street, and we did see Connor on the side of the street. And no one even knew that Connor was hurt. And as a result of that accident that we came upon, and ended up Connor had a fractured skull and a brain bleed. His mom, Abigail, was in one hospital at Winthrop, and he was taken to Schneider's Children's Hospital, a fantastic hospital, Long Island Jewish.
Yeah, right.
We spoke to his father, to the husband every night, and he was shuffling between both hospitals. This has got to stop. We have got to do something in order to make this happen. The village has done what we can do. The Jericho Turnpike is a state road. Through the leadership of Senator Anna Kaplan, we're working together to improve that. You can no longer make a left-hand turn out of any side street onto Jericho Turnpike in the village of New Hyde Park, which we put up no turn signs on each intersection. But we need to do more. And again, the fire department can tell you, I'm just talking about in the last 7 weeks, 4 pedestrians struck. I am not talking about auto accidents or anything along those lines, which are in the tens, the multiples of that, and they continue to go every single day to these calls. We need to do more, and we're so glad to welcome Senator Schumer, who again is shining a light on what we actually can do, because as Senator Schumer said, we're a small village, we have a relatively small budget, there's only so much we can do. But we look forward to working with Senator Kaplan and her leadership as far as the state DOT is concerned, and now that Senator Schumer is here to do this audit, to come up with safety measures, I have no doubt through his leadership, we can really make an improvement in people's lives and ultimately save people's lives. So again, thank you for coming. Thank you for being here. As always, our fantastic fire department, thank you for answering our calls.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you.
Thank you, Deputy Mayor. Okay, now let's hear from Senator Kaplan.
I want to start by thanking Senator Schumer for being here today with us, and I want to thank really the partnership with New Hyde Park Mayor and Deputy Mayor and our wonderful enforcement here helping the community each time that they need their help. The main roads we Long Islanders travel each day have become the scene of stunning level of tragedy, claiming far too many lives and getting worse year after year. Long Islanders deserve roads that aren't just smooth, but safe as well. So I joined Senator Schumer in calling for federal safety audit of our most dangerous roads, and I'm grateful for his partnership and his leadership on this issue. Long Islanders deserve safe roads, and thank you for making this your priority. We will make it our priority in the state, and I know that we have partners in the village government to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you, Senator. Okay.
And thank you for the advocates for being here today.
Right, we have a lot of advocates, and one of them will speak on behalf of many of them, and that is Alyssa Kyle. She's the Director of Placemaking for Hempstead Vision, Long Island. Thank you.
Hello. These are roads that go through communities, places where people live and work and shop and play. Before automobiles and DOTs, they were main streets at the heart of the community. These aren't just highways that get you from point A to point B as quickly as possible. People make mistakes, both on foot and behind the wheel, and roads should be designed so that those mistakes aren't fatal. Slower speeds make crashes easier to avoid and less likely to be serious or fatal when they do happen. You can't design a road to handle speeds of 50 miles an hour, put a 30-mile-an-hour sign on it, and expect people to drive 30. In downtown areas, you have to create an environment where drivers moving at unsafe speeds feel unsafe. Narrower lanes, street trees that provide shade and canopy, and curb extensions are some things that signal to drivers to slow down and be more careful because this is a place where there are people. Make the safe way convenient or make the convenient way safe. Roads have to be designed to account for how people actually behave, not how we wish they would behave. If they only work when people are behaving perfectly, then they don't work. Thank you.
Thank you. Well, okay, probably the people here who have certainly the most courage and certainly the greatest tragedy are people who have lost loved ones because of the lack of safety. As I mentioned, Renee Gasparis is here. She's from Family for State Streets. She lost her 17-year-old daughter, Kira, to a reckless driver. And speaking on behalf of these families for Safe Streets is Diana Alati, and she lost her 13-year-old son, Andrew, who was biking in 2019. And I really appreciate, where's Diana, for you to come. It is not easy. When something so tragic happens, like has happened to Alana, the natural reaction is what the Bible says, curse the darkness, just turn inward. But certain people have the strength, the fortitude, to what the Bible calls light a candle. And what she's doing here is trying to prevent this from happening to other people, the tragedy that happened to her son. So thank you for your courage.
Thank you so much.
And there's a picture of Andrew. Yeah.
My name is Diana Relati, and I am a member of Families for Safe Streets. On June 30th, 2019, my life forever changed when my 13-year-old son, Andrew Relati, was run over by a reckless driver. He was killed trying to ride home, and that should not be a deadly act. I want to thank Senator Schumer for bringing us together today and for your leadership in calling for federal safety audit of Long Island's most dangerous roads. This is a necessary step implementing the type of safe street designs that we know save lives and are long overdue. Every year, over 1,000 New Yorkers die in preventable crashes. In 2022, pedestrians and bicycle crashes are on the rise, and pedestrian fatalities have hit a 40-year high. When it comes to building safe streets, it needs to be done. We need to build safe streets at every opportunity, and we need to slow down speeding vehicles. Complete streets have shown to reduce serious injuries and fatalities by 15 to 30%. And Long Island is depending in these safety measures. Let's do it. Let's get it done. And Senator Schumer, thank you for being here and allowing me to tell you my story.
Thank you for your strength.
Thank you, everyone.
You know, we have a shrine in my neighborhood in Brooklyn. A young boy was killed about the age of Andrew 10, 12 years ago. And every year the community gathers to light that shrine. And we did push New York City to come up with some safe street laws. And we need to do it here.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thank you. And thank you as well. Okay, we'll take questions on this subject. Yes, please. You know, they have traffic engineers whose job it is to improve it. It's different in different places. What they did with left-hand turns, what New Hyde Park, the village, did is very important. But as you can tell, the roads here are 60, 70 miles long. They run the expanse. And so that would be one thing that might work. There are many other things that could work in terms of traffic lights, in terms of parking, in terms of visibility. You know, big trucks often park at a corner, and when you drive or ride, you can't see around them and you don't know what's happening. So there are many different things that could be done. We want to leave that to the experts. That's why basically we first called for an audit, and then I'll get the money to implement the audit.
How soon do you think the money is available and it's going nationwide and some earmarked?
Okay, so the money is there. It was passed by Congress last year in a law called the Bipartisan Infrastructure Bill. And I made sure $5 billion went in for safety because I've been moved by parents like Diana and the other parents who are here and the people in my neighborhood. A little boy about 13 lost his life. I was there, you know, a day later, and it was horrible. So now the way the money works is communities can apply for it. I have, you know, Buttigieg is the Secretary of Transportation, and he needs me for a whole lot of things. And I will talk to him once we apply and say, fund this audit. I'm very optimistic that will get done. Any other questions? Okay.
Thank you.
One off topic, sure.
The Randall's Island migrant camp has opened today. Mayor Adams has said they don't have any money. You know, this is a huge
Yes.
strain. How is the federal government going to help?
Yeah, I've been working with Mayor Adams to try and get them some help, and we have a letter that we sent, which we'll get to you. Okay? Okay. Thank you, everybody. Appreciate everyone being here. Appreciate our fire department, our elected